Hey everybody, it's Max J. Miller, co-author with Robert Hollis of the upcoming How Is That Working? And I know for the last couple of days I've been talking about a subject that seems a little heavy because I've been talking about the things that stop us, the things that really, for the most part, they function. They don't serve us. They're not very helpful, but they function like quicksand. That is to say, they get us stuck, and eventually they suck the life out of us. And those things are resignation and cynicism and complacency. And so we talked about that for the last few days. And I want to talk about now what it is that, I've talked about inspiration and desperation as the motivations that get somebody sort of out and on their way. And I want to begin to ask you to think about when you have made that kind of choice to step out from the crowd. When have you had that sort of aha? Robert calls them pops. When have you had that sort of pop aha moment that has actually brought a vision or an idea to life in such a way that you were able to just say, you know what, I'm going to make this happen? And so Robert often gives the example of, how when we're younger and we go to take a driver's test, maybe we fail that at the first time. But the issue then becomes, do you just give up on it? And the fact of the matter is the peer pressure of teenage years makes most of us say, no, absolutely, I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely just going to do it. Well, it's an example of a pop because it's something that you don't know how you're going to do, but you commit to it anyway. So it is a pop. Then you get older in life and the peer pressure gets greater to sort of, keep the boat, keep an even keel, to keep things sort of like on the level and don't rock the boat, as the expression goes. And this is where the real issue comes in, is because as we get older, it seems like there's just more of a pull, like a gravity, to keep things in the status quo. I love this quote by Rainer Maria Rilke, who is this German poet that's very, very inspiring. And he said, again and again, someone in the crowd wakes up. He carries strange customs with him and demands room for bold gestures. The future speaks ruthlessly through him. So when somebody says, I'm not going to take it anymore, I'm not going to accept that this is how life has to be. You remember the Gandhi quote from last night was to believe that what has not occurred will never occur at all, is to argue disbelief in the dignity of man. And so there is that moment in someone that we call a hero, somebody who just gets inspired or gets desperate and says, I am going to break from the pack. That's somebody who, somebody in the crowd, but who wakes up and says, I'm leaving the crowd, or I'm leading the crowd, or I'm, going to show a new way, I'm going to forge a new way. And so I'm interested and curious to know, when has that happened in your life? When have you said, no, I'm going to break with the status quo, I'm going to break with the familiar, and I'm going to draw a line in the sand, and I'm going to make something happen that so far I don't know how to make happen. I'm going to figure it out. And maybe it was to start a business. Maybe it was, to get a degree. Anything that you just decided you were going to tackle. And one of the things that I think of often is how Olympic athletes start their careers, and I've heard so many stories about them that they're of an age, 7 or 8 years old, and they're watching the Olympics or they're watching a game live, and they see a gymnast or they see a swimmer, and the pop happens, and they just go, Mom, Dad, that's what I want to do. Somehow, boom, they're into it, and the determination is there, and they follow through on it. So when has that happened in any aspect of life for you? And I loved your interaction. Robert and I are actually launching a new book that's going to be about this very subject. And we really think that this is a crucial, critical topic of when this shift happens, where people basically say, if it is to be, it's up to me, and I'm going to make this happen. Or, just this shall be. So I'd really invite you to interact with me, to look at your own life and say, when has that happened for me? And then furthermore, to share that with us. And I plead with you that you interact with me, share that with me. If you're uncomfortable writing it out or whatever, text me and we'll talk about it. And I'd love to share your story with people. So thanks for listening in. I look forward to sharing with you further. Keep telling your story. Goodbye for now.